Mark, you say the only legal conclusion was not guilty. Why?
Well, let me just start off and say that I was angry at first because I believe that, and I still do, that Zimmerman is responsible for Trayvon's tragic demise. I am a father of 3, and I feel for the family. But trials, as you know, Dr. Phil, more than anyone, they're not about the truth. It's what the prosecution can prove. And ultimately, these jurors found reasonably that while he was on his back suffering those injuries, and with the impending injuries that he could have sustained through this beating, that the only verdict that spoke the truth, that self-defense was a reasonable hypothesis of innocence, was not guilty.
What, in your opinion, is George Zimmerman guilty of?
Legally, absolutely nothing, because the prosecution did not have proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he wasn't acting in self-defense, and they were hindered because either he killed the only other eyewitness in cold blood, or, as the jurors found, he reasonably feared death or great bodily harm.
I understand self-defense, but if you precipitate the encounter, it seems to me that self-defense becomes a much weaker argument. Roland, what do you think?
Look, I agree 100%. And when it amazes me when people say that, well, this wasn't an issue of race, when what precipitated this entire thing was George Zimmerman seeing Trayvon Martin, labeling him a suspect, calling 911. Was he peering into cars? No. Was he looking into apartments? No. He's simply walking down the street. I don't care what anybody says. George Zimmerman came to a racial conclusion. Young black teen, I don't recognize him, in a hoodie, suspect. And that's what started this whole deal.
Let me just say this. I'm not going to get into the mind of Zimmerman. I have no idea whether he followed him because Trayvon was black.
How would you feel? You said you have kids. How would you feel if you got a phone call and said, sir, I need you to come down to the morgue to possibly identify your son? Are you going to sit there and say, there was possibly a fight, but the guy could have gotten in a fight with my son.
No, you
my
want me
son
to
could have slammed his head. No, you are going to sit here and say, I seek justice. No, I'm being very specific. Dr. Phil, when you say he could defend himself, this is when they say there's a law and an unjust law. And that's why I said I would hope the reaction, the protest, would stem to a change in laws. I would hope there would be a law that says if you're a neighborhood watch person, you shouldn't be able to carry a weapon, or you should not be able to follow somebody. You can actually change, you can actually have that kind of law.